Good morning everyone. Today we shall discuss the topic contraceptive methods. Okay, but before that, tell me what is the meaning of reproductive health? What is the meaning of reproductive health? Before that, what is health? Health is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. Health is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. Now what is reproductive health? It means healthy reproductive organs with normal functions. Am I clear? According to WHO, that is World Health Organization, reproductive health is defined as a state of complete well-being in all the aspects of reproduction. That may be social aspect, mental aspect, behavioral aspect. Am I clear? Now, let's start the topic contraceptive methods. Now, contraceptive methods are also known as birth control methods. Contraceptive methods are also known as birth control methods. And these methods are adopted to avoid unwanted pregnancy. Now, what are the characteristics of an ideal contraceptive method? First, it should be effective with no or minimum side effect. It should not interfere with the sexual ease or with the sexual desire. Okay, it should be easily available. It should be user friendly. Now, so many contraceptive methods are available nowadays. Let us study about them one by one. So first method is natural method or natural barrier. It is also known as traditional barrier. So first contraceptive method is natural method or natural barrier. Now, it works on the principle that if sperms and ovum, they will not come in contact with each other, then obviously there will be no fertilization and then there will be no conception. Okay, so it works on the principle that sperms and ovum, they should not come in contact with each other. Now, there are different methods of the natural barrier. These three are there. Let us study about them one by one. First method that comes under the natural barrier is periodic abstinence. Okay, now what does this mean? Periodic abstinence means avoid the sexual intercourse between 10th to 17th day of the menstrual cycle. Actually, what happens basically between 10th to 17th day of the menstrual cycle, the chances of conceiving is maximum, because at the 14th day of the menstrual cycle, ovulation takes place, release of ova takes place, and life of ova in the fallopian tube is almost 1 to 2 days. So basically, the sexual intercourse should be avoided between 10th to 17th, between 10th to 17th day of the menstrual cycle. In this way, the chances of conceiving would be minimum. Okay, basically first week after menses and first week before menses, these 2 weeks, they are considered to be the safest if we want to avoid the conception. Okay, now next method that comes under the natural barrier is Coitus Interruptus. Basically, what is there in this method? If the male partner withdraws the penis from the vagina just before the ejaculation of the sperm, means just before the ejaculation, if the penis is withdrawn from the penis, if the penis is withdrawn from the vagina, then the sperms would not be able to enter in the female reproductive tract, and then chances of conceiving will be minimum. Clear? Now next method is lactational amenorrhea. Basically what happens exactly after the parturition? Parturition means delivery. Okay. So basically after the delivery and during the time when the mother breastfeeds the child, okay, for that particular 6 months in the female, there is no menstrual cycle. There is no ovulation. So basically during that period of time, if sexual intercourse is being done, then chances of conceiving is again minimum. But this method works only for 6 months. After that, it is generally found that this method will not work. Okay, as in the case of these 3 methods, if we'll find that there is no need of any kind of medicine, any kind of pill or any kind of injection, this is a natural method. So the side effects are 0. Side effects are nil. Okay, but at the same time, chances of failure is again more. Okay, now the next method is barrier method. Now in this method, basically again the sperms and ovum, they are not allowed to meet, and if they will not come in physical contact with each other, then obviously there will be no fertilization and hence there will be no conception. Okay, in barrier methods, the first thing that is generally used in our society is condoms. Now these condoms are available both for the male as well as for the female. Okay, basically these condoms, these are rubber strips or latex strips. Okay, it is rubber sheath that is basically used to cover the penis during the time of sexual intercourse. What it used to do, it doesn't let the sperm to go inside the reproductive tract of the female. Okay, apart from these condoms, there are special other barriers also, like diaphragms. These are also available. These are available for the female. These can be inserted into the cervix and vagina of the female. Okay, now condoms, they also prevent STDs, that is sexually transmitted disease. Okay, they also work as a contraceptive method. In addition to that, they are also used to prevent STD. Clear? Now the next method is IUD. IUD stands for Intrauterine devices. As the name suggests, intrauterine devices. So these are the devices that are inserted in the uterus of the female partner. Okay, these could be copper releasing intrauterine devices or hormone releasing or intrauterine devices. Suppose if these are copper releasing intrauterine devices, then they will release copper in the uterus, right? Now what the copper ions will do, they will, you can say, reduce the motility of the sperm. They will suppress the fertility power of the sperm. As a result, conceiving will not be there. Clear? And if these are hormonal releasing intrauterine devices, then what they will do, they will make the uterus imperfect for the implantation purpose. Okay, so now the next method is oral pills. As the name suggests, oral pills. So basically these are the tablets that are taken orally. Okay, now these pills are taken for a period of 21 days and they should be started between 1 to 5 days of the initial phase of menstrual cycle. Okay, Saheli, it is an example of an oral pill which is to be taken once in a week. Otherwise, generally oral pills, they are to be taken 21 days in 1 month. Okay. Now, these oral pills, what they used to do, basically they used to change our hormonal level. Basically these are either progesterone or a combination of progesterone and estrogen. Okay, so these are basically, you can say, hormonal pills. Okay, they used to change the hormonal level of our body, which somewhat suppresses the ovulation, and as a result there is no conception. Okay, now the next method is surgical method. As the name suggests, surgical means surgery. Okay, basically this method is also known as sterilization method. If this method is done in case of males, then it is known as vasectomy. In case of males, it is known as vasectomy. And if this method is done in females, then in case of females, it is known as tubectomy. Now, what does this mean? Let us start with the vasectomy. Basically, you are aware of the different parts of human reproductive system. Okay, so from the testes there arises a duct that is known as vas deferens, right? And this duct transports the sperm, right? So basically what we used to do in vasectomy, doctors and highly skilled nurses, they used to cut a portion of the vas deferens, okay, or the vas deferens is tied at a particular place by making an incision through the scrotum. As you know, scrotum is a sac-like structure where testes are present. So through the scrotum an incision is made, and inside the testes a portion of the vas deferens is cut and tied. Okay, basically what it will do, it will not allow the transport of sperm. Now the transport of sperm will not be there, so during the sexual intercourse even the sperm will not be able to enter into the female body. Clear? This method is very good, but there are two problems. First, this method is generally irreversible, okay, because here surgery has to be done, okay, and like next it has to be practiced by qualified, well performed doctors and qualified nurses only. Okay, now next one is tubectomy. As the name suggests, in this method fallopian tube, you know na, fallopian tube is present in case of female. So basically in tubectomy, the fallopian tube, a portion of the fallopian tube is cutted and then tied by making an incision either through the abdomen or through the vagina. Okay, so doctors used to make an incision through the vagina or through the abdomen, and then they used to cut a portion of the fallopian tube. Again, this works on the same principle as vasectomy was based. In tubectomy also, the ovum, it will not be able to transport further, plus sperm will not be able to enter in the fallopian tube. Hence, if there will be blockage of the transport of sperm and ovum, they will not be able to meet, and if they will not be able to meet, then chances of conception will be zero rather. Okay, so this method is good, but there is one major problem, is that this method is generally irreversible. Okay, now next method is MTP. MTP stands for medical termination of pregnancy, as it is clear from the name only. In this method, females used to terminate the pregnancy, or it is also known as induced abortion. This method is also known as induced abortion. Okay, Basically, this method is practiced in case of the following cases. During the case of rape, if a particular female will conceive, then she can go for the MTP. Okay. Second, if during the sexual intercourse these type of barriers had been used, but due to any one of the reason they fail and conception is there, then in that case also MTP is again followed. Okay. And if there is casual unprotected sex, during that method also, if conception is there, then again MTP is followed. So basically this is induced abortion. If there is pregnancy due to any reason, due to, you can say, casual unprotected sexual intercourse, or due to rape, or due to any kind of failure of these barrier, then female can go for this method, that is MTP. But nowadays this method, no doubt, it is very useful. It can also be done if continuation of pregnancy can be fatal for the baby or for the mother or for both. No doubt this method is very good, but nowadays people, they are misusing this method. What they are doing actually, they are going for amniocentesis. Now do you know what is amniocentesis? Basically, in the embryo, when the child is developing, there is present an amniotic fluid. Okay, amniotic fluid surrounds the embryo. Okay, and with the help of this amniotic fluid, the sex of the child can be determined. So this method of determining the sex of the child, whether the child is male or female, with the help of amniotic fluid, is known as amniocentesis. Now what the persons are doing nowadays, they are going for amniocentesis. They are just checking the sex of the child, and if the child comes out to be a girl, then they are going for MTP, which is legally not correct. Okay, this is illegal. So these are the various contraceptive methods. Clear? Natural method, or I can say the safest method with zero side effect. Okay, again it is having three parts, three types: periodic, abstinence, in which the sexual intercourse is avoided during the 10th to 17th day of the menstrual cycle. Okay, next is coitus interruptus. In this, the penis is withdrawn from the vagina just before the ejaculation, so that the sperms are not injected into the vagina, and hence the chances of the conception will be minimum. Next one is lactational amenorrhea. It is based on the fact that after parturition or after delivery, during the time of heavy lactation, when the mother used to breastfeed the child, at that particular time the menstrual cycle do not take place, and if sexual intercourse will take place at that particular time, then again it will work as a contraceptive method. Conception will not be there. Clear? Next is barrier method. As I told you, in this method condoms are used, diaphragms are used, vaults are used. In addition to this, spermicidal jellies, foams, creams, they are also used. Okay, these all, they doesn't let the entry of the sperm into the female reproductive tract. Next is IUD, that is intrauterine devices, which are inserted into the uterus of the female. Okay, they either suppresses the mobility of the sperm or they reduces the fertility of the sperm. Clear? Next is oral pills. They are taken orally. Okay, they are generally basically either the progesterone or a combination of progesterone or estrogen hormone. They used to change the cell cycle. They used to change the menstrual cycle in the female. Okay, they used to imbalance the hormones. Next is surgical method. In this, surgery is done, which is also known as sterilization method. It is tubectomy in case of female and vasectomy in case of male. And last one is MTP, that is medical termination of pregnancy. Thank you.